It's not often that we have the chance to sit down with a product manager from a provider organization. That's right, you heard me, a product manager at a provider. It's definitely a rare sighting. So I'm really excited to sit down with my next guest to ask her about the mobile app that they've created for their patients. Hello and welcome to Swaay.Health, where we bring you the latest insights and interesting stories from the brightest minds in healthcare marketing and patient experience. I'm Colin Hung, and I'm about to sit down with Julie Marino, who's a manager of product management at Novant Health. She and I are going to talk about their mobile app, but more importantly, about the process that they went through to ensure that the design of that mobile app matched what their patients want. Spoiler alert, she talks about how they consulted with patients to make sure that the flow of that product is what they need to make it super efficient. Let's get to it. Julie, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Colin. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm excited to have you on the program. We've been talking for the last evening and early this morning about all the great work you're doing at Novant. But maybe before we dive in, can you just give us a quick overview of your role and the organization you're with?
Sure. My role is actually the manager of product development for all of our mobile solutions. And I actually came in as a single product manager, and I've slowly grown so that I have several teams now that I manage. And I truly focus on product development in its purest sense. I have a team of developers. We manage anything mobile that ever comes across the plate at Novant.
Now, one of the things that definitely attracted me to your story is the fact that Novant has product managers. We don't normally think of an organization, certainly a provider organization, having someone like you in the role that you're in. So tell me more about some of your day-to-day stuff that you do in that product management role.
So, when we started, we were like a little startup within Novant Health. So think of all the great things about a product startup. We were innovators, small team, really agile, and we built the app in just 90 days. That means that we had total control over our stack. And that also means that we have subject matter experts that can tell you exactly what's going on with the app at any given point in time. So our day-to-day is really focused on sustainability of the app, performance of the app, making sure that we're aligned with our security measures and things like that. But we're also a true product team in that we do design, user testing. We have a fantastic QA team. And in fact, our QA team has been so successful that we loan that QA team out to other teams to help with QA rigor, with QA stability, and helping if we're integrating something from another platform, we QA it for them. So it's been really fun.
And what is the app that you've been working on? I mean, because we've talked about it offline here, but I'm very interested, and I certainly want our audience to know, what is the app that you've been working on, this mobile application for Novant?
Yeah, it's called MyNovant, and what we've done is we've created this really unique bridge between the MyChart patient experience and the branded Novant Health experience. What we really wanted to do was to be a digital front door for everything, in a mobile platform for everything Novant Health, that you could access things faster and easier than a typical website journey. What we hear the most from our patients is, I don't have time. I don't have time to do all this administrative work. I don't have time to figure out when my appointment is or how to get there. So by streamlining everything and keeping it to a really simple workflow, people feel like they have confidence to engage with our stuff on a regular basis. So I always think of it as, we don't want them to spend a lot of time in the app. We want you to come back over and over again and feel confident that you can pay your bill, you can check your messages, all in a very, very quick way. My rule is less than 3 clicks.
So Julie, it sounds like you really spent a lot of time thinking about the end user for this mobile app, which in this case is patients. Did you consult with patients a lot during the design process? Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, absolutely we did. I think that is the most important thing to myself and to my developers. So when you run a product team, the developers are really interested in every aspect of it, from design to code to implementation. And we knew that to develop effectively, we had to have the user's viewpoint. There are so many assumptions in development, and the way to iron those out and smooth them out, we're very fortunate at Novant Health that we have these great patient experience focus groups.
Hmm.
We have, I think, about 3,000 patients that contribute on a regular basis.
Wow.
And so we could lean into that, solicit people who were digitally engaged or really into mobile apps. You'd be surprised how many people love to test mobile apps for you. So, and give you their feedback and share what works and what doesn't work. So we started out that way. We found that we had to invest an enormous amount of product team development time in those user focus groups. So once we had the basic framework and design, we decided to move to a platform to facilitate faster user testing. But that is one of our guardrails. We don't develop anything that we don't test first, because we feel like it eliminates like 90% of the risk of what you're going to launch.
And Julie, I have to ask this because of our audience. Did you work with your marketing team at Novant to develop the apps and things that you did?
Absolutely. In fact, MyNovant was a marketing and a sponsored initiative. So our VP of marketing, our chief marketing officer, and the CIO were all working together on this initiative when we formed it about 3 years ago. What's interesting is that that relationship has deepened and grown over the years that we've been working together on this. And we actually have a dedicated digital experience team within the marketing department that we work very closely with. And what that means is that when there are large marketing initiatives, they can also meet us because we're the bridge between the clinical space and the marketing space. So we have the trust and resilience that we get from working with our EHR and with the clinicians that kind of run that side of the patient experience, and then also developing that brand voice, that knowledge of this is what it means to be part of the Novant Health family.
And why was it so important for you and the marketing team and CIO to put this much energy into improving the digital patient experience for the Novant community?
Well, I think our cause kind of explains it best. I've really committed to the notion that expressing a great patient experience is at the heart of everything Novant does. Whether it's your digital experience or your point of care experience, that is the North Star for our CEO. And to support that, the digital experience needs to be aligned from a brand perspective. That Novant knows me. Novant knows what I need, what I want. And also we have our own brand of remarkable. And we want to be able to express that in a branded app that is our voice to the community. Now, do we want to include other kinds of applications within that framework? Absolutely. My notion of how MyNovant works best is actually as a hub solution. We present the front door and the brand, the personality, if you will, of what Novant is. And then all of these other solutions that we embed within MyNovant give us that scalability, that ability to say, we need wayfinding. How do we make that happen? We work with a vendor to bring wayfinding as a part of our app. And so that just becomes a way to offer more and better experiences in a way that makes them feel, hey, I'm still at home. I'm still here with Novant, my trusted doctors, my trusted health system. And that's our whole goal.
I wanted to expand on that on point you just made there. You just mentioned that you work closely with some of your vendor partners.
Mm-hmm.
How do you work with them, and how can they work best with an organization like Novant?
Well, I think I'm really spearheading a sweet spot here because there is this notion that health systems struggle to onboard the massive amount of technical innovation that's going on. We always feel like we're a little bit behind the 8 ball because Amazon's doing this, and all these leaders in technology are able to do things in the retail space, and it has set customer expectations to a certain level. So when I work with vendors, I'm actually really excited because they can bring expertise of their methodology, their technology to the table, and an already built solution that I would never have funding or capability to design. What works best with a vendor is if we treat each other like partners in the space. Having a product team actually embedded in the health system gives us the ability to speak the same language and to co-develop the implementation. You know, when you just implement something, you kind of drop it off a cliff. But if you have a development team that's really savvy, they're like, hey, we want to make this a seamless flow. We don't just want to put our colors or our font in the solution. We actually want it to feel like you're still walking down the same street in the same neighborhood. So that's what we do. We want to make our apps feel flawless and seamless, so that because the customer doesn't need to know that. The patient doesn't need to feel like, oh, I'm being handed off somewhere, because that just doesn't feel holistic. So I like to say to vendors, if you can find ways to keep us whole throughout the patient journey, and that means things like having a robust API that we can leverage so our designs can go on top of that. Being flexible enough to plug into our design system so that if you have certain designs that have to stay within your workflow as a vendor, that you can use our design system to create that workflow. And also being very mobile savvy, like omni-channel experience is everywhere now. People are going to use their mobile apps to do more and more and more, but they also still want the web to do their research, some of their deeper dives, some of their thinking. So I tell people omni-channel is what we need and pray for with every vendor that we work with.
Julie, you've given us a lot of great information. What's next for Novant? What are some of the exciting things you're working on?
Well, I have to say, Novant is one of those really powerful growing health systems, and I feel like there is so much potential here. But, you know, tomorrow is a very wide horizon of capabilities and possibilities, and I feel like AI is going to take up a lot of our energy and a lot of our thought when we're thinking about how can AI support the things that are business strategic priorities for Novant Health. And of course, those strategic priorities can shift. We are still in a post-COVID recovery time, so I still emphasize the need for empathy, the need for personalization, and the need for easy, frictionless workflows. So that's really going to be our focus for this year. And I think that working more with vendors is definitely going to be on our table.
Julie, where can people go to learn more about Novant?
Well, you can go to NovantHealth.org, or you can download our MyNovant app on the App Store or the Google Play Store.
I love how you plugged it there. Well, Julie, thank you so much for being on the program. It's really great having you.
Thank you so much, Colin. This has been a real pleasure.
Hey, I want to thank Julie for coming on camera with me and sharing her story of how they created the mobile app at Novant Health. I was really impressed with the amount of time and effort that they put in to ensuring that that mobile app was going to match what patients needed. It's not often that we hear stories about that close collaboration between patients and creators of technology at a provider organization. And hey, if you enjoyed this interview as much as I did, please like and subscribe. Also, head on over to Swaay.Health, that's Swaay with 2 A's, .health, where you can find more great content like this. I'm Colin Hung. Thanks for being here, and I'll catch you on the next video.